All right, so on this video, I wanted to talk about dreaming, and specifically about lucid dreaming and about this concept, which I'm just going to introduce and throw it out here right from the beginning so you can kind of put this in the back of your mind and contemplate it a bit as I go into the story about my first lucid dream that I ever had. So this concept is called dreaming your vision into reality. And I'll get into exactly what I think that means and how to apply it. But first, I had my very first conscious lucid dream where I woke up fully to the fact that I was dreaming in the midst of a very rich dream, fully immersed, full of color, full of experience, full of other people and situations and things, super clear, right? HD and things. And right in the midst of that, boom, I snapped out of it and I said, oh my God, this is a dream. Now, that experience was very profound, and for the next couple weeks, I had this feeling inside of me that I just couldn't shake, which was that the dream world that I awoken into and the so-called waking reality that we all inhabit together are identical. And this was the feeling that I had. It was this was a deep, deep inner knowing that I gained from that experience. Right in the middle of it, I knew, it was like, oh, this is exactly like reality. There's no difference. Now, there clearly are some differences, but I'm just trying to explain what this feeling that overcame me was so clear, so deep, so intuitive, so truth embodied, incarnate. And in any case, I had a couple lucid dreams after that, but that was what I call the Whopper, the very first one. It was the most intense. And like I said, for weeks I walked around in that state, just like the dream world and this world, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Now, since then, many years have gone past, and I've recently really become more and more interested in dreaming and been especially practicing more and more lucid dreaming. And what I've been gaining from this experience now is this idea about actualizing our intention, and how when we awaken in a dream, that's really what shifts, is that instead of the dream just happening to us and we're just along for the ride, it always amazes me the wild things that I just instantly accept as true in the midst of a dream. Like, oh yeah, I'm anxious because I let my dog drive the car behind me. And I lose sight of him in the rearview mirror, and I get distracted, and I'm like, what am I doing? Why did I do this? This was a stupid idea. And then I eventually wake up and realize, how was I convinced that I actually let my dog drive the other vehicle? And I'm like, I got hornswoggled again, completely immersed in the experience. And so, just in the same way that we are in this waking reality, so convinced that everything that we are thinking and experiencing in the situations are so real. But what if they're not as real as we think they are, or not real in the way that we think that it is? And we've talked about underlying simulation and things, right? But when we go to sleep, when we have a dream, do you know if you ever actually went anywhere? Did you go anywhere, or was it all in your own consciousness? Most people probably think that it's all in their own consciousness, although I know there is some debate about that, and I don't think that the jury is in on that. But nonetheless, so back to the current, more recent practice of lucid dreaming. And what I started to notice is that I became awake in my sleep first. This time I didn't wake up in the dream. I actually realized, oh, I'm asleep. I became conscious. I'm sleeping. I knew the body was asleep. Mind was completely clear. No content going on whatsoever. And then I could feel myself sliding into a dream. It was very, very interesting. Definitely like, what's the word? Nuanced novel, right? I can't recall ever experiencing that before. But it was clear. I could feel it, I could know it, I could sense it. And I watched and felt myself slide into a dream while remaining lucid. So I don't know if that's ever happened to you. By all means, leave a comment below, or about any particular experiences that you feel might relate to this, I'd love to hear about them. But this was very interesting because then what I started to notice later on that day as I awoke was that feeling of sliding was still present. It was curious, like, oh, I'm sure you've had these experiences where you have a feeling, it's like a feeling that you've had before, but difficult to describe. But there's a remembrance to it. There's I could say a comfort almost, but more like a deja vu almost. Yes, something is there, but you can't quite put your finger on it. So anyways, it was similar to that. But as I'm practicing this more and more, then I feel that this experience is imbuing itself more and more into my daily life, where it's starting to feel, and this has been going on for a little while now, but it's starting to feel like I'm sliding into awakening. And what do I mean by that? Is just a greater presence to what I'm doing, to where I am, and not so much thinking about this or that, more like, I'm here. This is what's happening. I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm doing it. And I'm awake to it, right? I'm not just running some program. I'm not just reacting or hurrying to get something done or, whatever, all the things that we do, distractions and such. I'm here. I'm not checked out. I'm present. And so, again, it had that feeling of sliding into a waking dream. And so that's when I started to get this concept, just it started coming up in me about dreaming my vision into reality. In the same way that when we begin to become lucid in the dream, we have suddenly the realization that, I have intention and I can create this dream as I see fit. Or there may be degrees of that. I know sometimes you might not get full capacity, like you wake up in the dream and you go to fly, but this time for some reason you couldn't fly. Maybe you doubted if you could. You wondered, can I fly? Instead of just intending and allowing yourself to take off. So in any case, back to that. That's that power of intention that gets expressed so cleanly and so clearly in the lucid dream. And so what I'm experiencing and what I'm suggesting, that this is an experiment that might be worth checking out, is to see if you can find this sense of awakening into a dream of life. And a dream of life whereby you are able to, and actually fully manifesting, creating the vision by dreaming it into existence. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mean to just be airy-fairy or like just living up in your head and things like that. It's not what I'm talking about. It's a bit nuanced, so I hope I'm doing a good job of being clear, but I really want to make this clear. This is not about being a dreamer, a lofty, dreamer. This is about this visceral experience of feeling myself to be awakening into a lucidity of this level of reality, which is a bit more meta, a lot more awake and present. And it's the feeling of I am immersing myself into, remember what I said before, I had that feeling of sliding into a dream lucidly. You're awake the whole time as you're sliding into it. And it's the same way. We're sliding into our future right now. Is it a future of your own intention? Is it a future of possibility and adventure and joy? I certainly hope so. So I guess that was enough to kind of just scratch the surface. I plan on having some more conversations about this in the upcoming weeks, and hopefully having some guests on to talk more about this as well. But there's definitely something to this. That experience, again, it shifted me, and it got me to that sense that these realms are identical in a way that I couldn't necessarily put my finger on or nail down, but it was so, just the experience proved it to me, if that makes sense. So I know obviously we have to be careful with the experiences we have, because the dream could show us anything. But to me, again, it felt aligned and empowered enough for me to definitely want to test it and try it and apply it. And what I'm sensing is, and this is just my direct, personal, subjective experience, is that it feels more like I am embodying the world that I live in. It's difficult to describe. My self-energy, my own self-energy, what's normally contained in our bodies. Like, this is me, this is who I am. This is myself. Yes, I know myself. Ah, yes. So this self-energy begins to pour through into the world around me, right? As I'm sliding into my future, my self-energy is releasing into the world around me and embodying it. And so it feels like, I am this whole thing. I am this whole thing. Or I'm not separate from this whole thing. In fact, my energy is imbued fully into it, right? So I'm not saying that I'm identical with the thing, maybe, but it's more like myself feels like itself. There may be a subjective difference, but in a felt sense of qualitative selfhood and embodiment, there's a union. And that union feels very, very good and very empowering. It feels like coming home to a self that has been missed but not known. Like I never knew I needed this feeling to make me feel, yes, now I'm at home. And so that's been the experience. Again, a worthy endeavor to test. And let me know for sure. I'm curious to hear about your experiences with dreaming, especially lucid dreaming, and also this concept of dreaming your vision into reality. So let me know what you think. And please subscribe if you'd like to, and or like this video. These things help grow this channel so tremendously. And I've just, recently this last year, hit over 1,000 subscribers. So shout out to every single one of you guys. I appreciate you so much for being on this journey with me and for supporting this channel this way. I love you guys and looking forward to connecting again more and more.